Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hollywood Knitter Podcast. My name is Allison. I'm recording from my home in Los Angeles, California, and it is Saturday, September 30th, 2017, the last day of September. That means tomorrow is October 1st, which begins my favorite month when the weather gets cooler, hopefully here in Los Angeles. When I go see my family or go to other places in New England, I get to see beautiful fall weather and wear sweaters, and it's my birthday at the end of the month. So definitely October is my favorite month, but I thought it was time to sit down and do a podcast because it's been like 2 months. Time just got away. Work was busy, things were busy, and I very much have a very set routine of when I need to do it. I need to be alone in the house and have the right light or, daytime and things like that. And just hasn't happened, but I'm here today. And I've got some knitting to show you, some FOs, all that wonderful jazz, and talk about what's been going on in my life the last few months. Let's start off with my whip, my Rhinebeck sweater. I'm wearing it right now, but I'm not going to be able to do much longer because it's like 90-something degrees outside, and I've been wearing it for like 5 minutes, and I'm really hot. But this is the Sea Salt by Laura Ayler, and it was a really cool sweater. It's in Mad Tosh DK and the Great Gray Owl, and it's beautiful. And I'm going to pause right here and do little magic fingers and show you a little full-length video. Hey everybody, just a quick video to show you my new sweater, Rhinebeck sweater. This is the Sea Salt by Laura Ayler. A very wonderful sweater, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. You can see, you'll see it up close, but I love this garter stitch, and really comfortable, locked out loose, really warm. So yeah, really pleased with it. I will have talked more about it right before you saw this little full-length insert. Bye. All right, so you could see how it looks on. I'm gonna pop it off real quick now so I can talk about some of the cool construction. And I have a tank top underneath. This sweater is knit from the sleeve, and then you come through, you knit this garter stitch top, and then you do the other sleeve. And then you pick up and knit all the way down. Oops, dropped it. All the way down. And I made M2 size, and it ended up being perfect. I did at the end, so all of my garter stitch at the top was a little kind of squished in. So I did a little blocking, and now it's perfect. It's comfy, it's roomy, it's got some positive ease. I love the gray. I love Mad Tosh. It's one of my favorite things to make sweaters out of because it doesn't seem to pill. Well, for me, it doesn't pill that much. And this took about 5 skeins, so 1,100 yards or so. And yeah, I'm really pleased. I actually have been done with it for a little while. I need to take some pictures for Ravelry. I kind of have put everything in a pile to podcast about before I put it away. So I think I finished this, like almost 3 weeks ago. And I need to take some pictures, which I'm going to do today. But super excited. I have a new Rhinebeck sweater, though I am going to wear it. I have another knitting event I'm going to in October, which is, again, like next weekend. I'm going to the Fall Fling, and I think I'm going to wear it there too. So super excited to have a new sweater. It's been a little while. It's a great weight. I think I might be able to get some use out of it. And yeah, the other thing I finished, which I don't think you guys ever even saw, I cast this on July 24th and finished it the 13th. So it was just a cute, I haven't trimmed those, a cute little project I was looking for. This is the Shailene by Layla Rab, and the yarn is Gradient I've had in my stash for a little while from Fiber Nymphs Dye Works. It was part of a club I was with a few years ago. And she calls this the Winter Solstice Sunrise. It is just 390 yards of a little, I think it's sport weight. And I was just looking for the perfect project to have with it. And I thought this ended up turning really well. So it's just a cute little kind of, scarf or around the shoulders. Definitely a wind skeiner. Ignore my ends I forgot to trim. I did block it, but apparently I forgot to trim some of the ends. I think I had to do, well, based on the construction, I should have had just an one end, and then I had must have had to join for some reason there. Maybe I'll wear this for the podcast. This is doable. Yeah, so I really have had the Shailene in my queue for a long time, and I really like the way it looks. It's really just a simple garter stitch, and then you have the little lace section, and I think it works really well for solids or semi-solids. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. And then I was really pleased because, you know, I like to go in, and I think this was a project I was looking to use some of my older stash, and that's kind of how I go about it. I basically occasionally will just go into Ravelry and look at my stash based on age, and then try to find projects for some of my old skeins. And this was one of those. So yeah. So again, that's the Shailene by Layla Rabe, and you can make it bigger, you can do more sections. Mine ended up being just the little one, but yeah. And then my last FO, behind me, is a pair of socks. I'm calling these my king socks. It's really just a vanilla sock in the yarn is what's spectacular. This is Cannon hand-dyed 6-stripe self-striping in Fall of Kings. And I think I picked this up at Rhinebeck 2 or 3 years ago. And then I did the heel in Invictus Yarns, Jewel Tones. I had some mini skein sets. Didn't have quite enough to do at the top. That had been my intention. But after I did the first sock in it, and then I started to do the second heel, I ran out. So I had to rip out the top to finish the heel. So I really just have the very, very top I cast off and the little bit I had. These are for the boyfriend. So these are on 72-inch socks. You know, I did a garter stitch fishnet kiss heel. Let's see, there we go. You can see it that way. And then I made him taller. He's requested that I make his socks taller, which normally I make my socks the same length as the foot, but he's requested a little taller, which for good reason. He tends to wear them to work and in sneakers or something, which he wears casually. These are fine. But at work, he switches out of those and goes into work boots. So having that little extra length makes a difference. So yeah, so I have another pair of socks for him, and these are on the needles way too long. They were in my purse, and I guess I hadn't had much purse knitting for a while, and then finally I had some training and some other things and was able to finally work on them. So that was good. So those are my only 3 FOs. I only have 3 FOs in 2 months. But I have a lot of works in progress, more so than normal, and some of them are taking a while. One of the ones that's going to be off very soon are my Crackerjack socks. These are the socks that I'm doing, again, for the boyfriend, and they follow the Dodgers, LA Dodgers season. So the first one I knit was here, and this was the first half of the season. And basically, if you don't remember, blues are home wins, white are away wins, and then the different grays are home losses and away losses. So this was the first half, and this is the second half. Look how different they look. Because this was their giant winning streak that they had, and then they went into their giant little losing streak right after their winning streak. So this sock is interesting. I have alternate heels. I use the grays, but I alternated them for each sock. So one heel's light gray, one heel's that. I only have like 5 more games. I think there's 3 more games left this season, and I'm a few rows behind. And then I'm gonna wait and see what they do in postseason, because I have the top I hadn't finished on the first one, and yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm going to designate postseason games. I think I'll wait to the end and see how many games to work with, and go from there. I'm thinking maybe just like pearl or something in that color for home win, home losses, and that would kind of go. I'm not sure, but very close to being done. As soon as, when is the, well, potentially if they go to the World Series, I think that is at the end of October. So I will have these done by the end of October, one way or another. Not really wanting the Dodgers to go to the World Series or win it. Much prefer the Red Sox. But yeah. So that's been kind of fun to do those all season. I would go a few weeks, and then just the past 3 weeks I've caught up. I was like behind 3 weeks. But very easy to do, win losses and do the rows. And basically I was doing, or am doing, each game is 2 rows. And I did a fish lips kiss heel when it was time. And these are actually probably not tall enough. So what I'll probably end up doing after postseason is then I'll just do a really tall cuff to make up some of that height in the alternate grays. And I have plenty of yarn left. Most of this yarn is the Loopy Solids, the grays and the blue, and then the white is some other fingering white that I've had for years. So plenty of yarn left though, and doing each of those was like 200 yards, and so 800 yards to do a pair of socks. So I have lots left over. I probably could do another one next season. Next up, let's show another one that's been on my needles for a while. And this is my Crichton, which is the Crocheted Citron. And I started this, all right, I gotta take this off, I'm hot. Ooh, yeah, it's warm. This was what I started to get rid of my lace scraps. And I had kind of a gradient set of lace scraps. And I was holding two together. You can kind of see the beginning. I was holding a gray that I had a lot of, and then I basically, as I went through the gradients, I picked up the other color. So you can kind of see the gradient all the way to the bottom when I have black. So now it is a black edge and black bottom. And right now I have this much of the gray left, and then I had to go and buy another skein of lace weight. I got some Knit Picks, I think it's Knit Picks, I don't know, one of their lace weights. So I'm basically gonna keep going until I finish the gray, see how much I get from there, and then I'm gonna pull from the middle of the ball and use 2 strands of the black until I finish. I'm hoping, again, to make another shoulder width weight. Really like the fabric. I think when I block it, that will help a lot in terms of stretching it out and making it bigger. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really pretty. And it's just a single crochet. You basically single crochet, increase, decrease, so it looks like the knitted citron, which was another pattern that I'd love. So it is definitely slower. Not a fast crocheter, and so I sort of just have this next to my TV, and I'll work on it for a few days, and then I won't work on it for a few weeks, which is why it's going so slow. But it's an easy pattern, and it's easy to pick up and do every so often when the mood hits. So I probably say I'm 2 months out from finishing it, probably, because I have a lot of other knitting going on. Another one I started, let's go with the Kimba. I'm knitting the Kimba by Amba O'Brien. She has a lot of great kind of gradient patterns, and I'm knitting this with the yarn I got is Zombie Apocalypse. This was the door prize, and I got 3 200-yard skeins of 3 Irish Girls in speckled, and I also was able to get from a friend 1 skein of the 716 knits, and these are all kind of the pinks and blues. So here's the top of it. So here's what I got so far. Here, let's look it up. So this is my first color, and then this blue is my second color, and then I have a white for my third color right now. And right now I'm doing the striping part. So you basically kind of do almost like a feather and fan section, and then a stripe section. There's my stripes. So the only modification I'm making is when I finish as the pattern goes, it was like, I don't know, 10, 20 rows of the stripe alternating. I had a lot of the blue left. So I had a lot of the blue left. I still have a lot of the blue left, and I didn't want to have more. So it only called for, I think, 10 rows of the striping, and I'm doubling that to use more of this blue before I do the lace section in the white, and then my last color I'm finishing up is this great blue. So here's the 3 colors that I have left, plus this was the white purple. And so yeah, I think they all really go together. It's not really my color combo, but I don't know, we'll see what happens when I'm done. I can always just put it in the gift box, but I'm really enjoying knitting with it, and the pattern is really fun. I like alternating. I like the speckled kind of striped look, and then when I block it, which I will, the lace will open up, and yeah. So This white is kind of boom on top, but I decided to go with the white closer to the face as opposed to blue was my other option. But, so yeah, I'm knitting on this. I am following the pattern, which is just kind of keeps me on track. Well, I was following the pattern until I decided to increase more rows, and now I'm sort of have memorized the main section of the pattern, and I'm just figuring it out as I go, how to add the rows and how that changes, and going from there. Another pattern that I started and then didn't do much on, and so I might pick it up again soon. So I started the Consulate Hat by Hunter Hammerson, and this is a really cool hat with a, I don't even know what she calls the stitch. Let's see, I don't know if I have a picture. It's got this really cool like braidy stitch. I don't even know what the stitch is called. Yeah, anyways, I don't know what the stitch is called. But basically, I just have done the brim. In her hat, she calls for a longer brim with it then flipped up. And I'm not really a big fan of the flip up kind. So I decided to just knit like how it's gonna look. So I'm knitting, this is gonna be my bottom. And I'm knitting it in Mad Tosh Dandelion that I got at a swap with the Tuna Chicks at the retreat. And this is a really cool yarn. It's 90% merino and 10% linen. So it's kind of got like a halo. Can't really see it in my yarn right now because it's got a little bit of the linen pops, and I really like the colors. So I need to start the stitch. I did do a swatch and practice the stitch, and it's not that hard. It is interesting because you basically go like 3 rows down and pull a loop up, so you have like these giant loose V's as you go through and knit. So it does need to pay attention a little bit. It's not really mindless per se, though I'm sure it will get easy once I start doing it. But I just have done the brim, and now I'm ready to start the main part of the hat, and I just haven't. I've had the brim done for like 2 weeks. So let's see. I have a few other little projects I'm not going to show you. I have some gift knitting that's also ongoing. And then I just started a new sock, which I'm not sure what I do with my sock. Oh, here it is. This is my new purse knitting, and I have this one. I've got just the toe. Just the toe. So I do my socks toe up. This is, I'm pretty sure it's another Crafty Girl. No, this is in Invictus from the Knockers a few years ago. So it's teals and purples. So I have the toe, and I was going to do a vanilla, but I decided I'm going to do the Nutkin pattern. This was a free pattern. I can't even remember because I didn't write it down, but I first knit my first Nutkin sock over 10 years ago. And I was looking at it in my drawer the other day, and it's almost ready to give up the ghost. And I was like, you know what? I really like this sock. It's like a really simple kind of traveling stitch, traveling knit togethers or SSKs, and then some yarn overs. So it looks really cool. But basically, I'm gonna do it because I'm going to be retiring those socks soon, and this was a good one to do it in. And those particular socks, what I like about them, and so I'm going to do with this one, is they're shorter on the cuff. I use them just as house socks. So my taller socks tend to be what I wear out. But when I'm just kind of lazing around the house, especially even in the winter, I tend to do shorter socks. So I don't have a lot of shorter socks because I've been making most of my socks like calf length, or not calf, like mid calf, 7 inches. And I think I'm going to do like these as like higher than crew, shorter than that. So like 3 inches. But I need to get into do the first repeat probably this weekend to get into and memorize the pattern so that I can have these be semi-mindless as my purse knitting. And yeah, I think that is all I have. My blankets haven't seen, neither my fingering weight or my worsted weight blankets have seen any love at all. I'm starting to feel like working on them again. We had a little cold snap a few weeks ago, and it was like down into the low 60s at night. It was like beautiful, and like 70s during the day. Now we're back up to the 90s. So, but I am hoping in October we will cool off for a permanent spell and go into our Southern California fall winter. I am enjoying a mango IPA today from Barrel House Brewing out of Paso Robles, California. It's a beautiful day to have a little bit of a beer. And I think that's all the knitting I have for you guys. I've been dreaming of casting on a lot of other projects, but I'm going to limit myself to finishing some of these. Though I need to see if some of these are appropriate travel knitting, because I have some travels coming up, which I'll talk about a little bit later. First, let's have a little gossip and see what's been going on since I last talked to you. I went and saw my parents in late July. My dad had a health scare, and so I made a point of going out there. He's doing much better, actually much better than he was prior to his scare. So that was cool. We just sort of hung out for the weekend, and I introduced my family to board games, new board games that are kind of like the ones on our shelf. Basically, we went to a gaming store and we picked up games that would be appropriate for my mom and my niece to play because they're home a lot and playing, and she's 7. So they were mostly card games and smaller kind of 2-player games that you could play other ones up. And we kind of just, as a family, played those, and it was a lot of fun. Like, everyone played. My nephew came down, you know, my 16-year-old nephew, and my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister at various times, and me and the boyfriend. So it was a lot of fun. It was a quick trip, but it was nice to go out there in the summertime. Then in August, almost a month ago, I went to Florida for a week to hang out with the family, and that was with my brother and sister, my niece and nephew, and my mom and my brother's girlfriend. And we stayed at my uncle's and we saw my grandmother and went to Universal with the niece and nephew. So that was a lot of fun. We spent like 3 days there. And Florida's hot, as usual. Rainy, muggy, wet. But it's always a good time to get with family and kind of stay there. I adore my uncle and my aunt. It's wonderful to see my grandmother. So we just had a good time just hanging out, talking, playing. I actually brought a game there. I brought Pandemic, and my nephew and I played that. So that was fun. And got some knitting done and played in the pool, and yeah, just the fun stuff. Luckily, they live outside of Tampa, and they were not that affected by the hurricane, which is wonderful. They didn't have any damage or anything. Little light flooding, but nothing that harmed them. Then, what else have I got? Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I won a prize from the Two Knitlet Chicks. I don't have them, but I won some wonderful stitch markers that Tracy made for my entries into the Mother Bear, so that was fun. I had a little bit of yarn acquisition. I don't have them here yet because I haven't gotten here, but I fell down a rabbit hole. But I love Gail's Arts sock lengths, and I usually pick one up at Rhinebeck every year, but she had her 3-month club for it, and it was October, November, and December. So it was like fall, and then it was like a Christmassy one, and then this other, and I just loved them all. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of buying it at Rhinebeck this year, I'll just buy a 3-month club, and I'll get 3 sock lengths. So I'm hoping my first one will be coming soon. It'll be exciting. Work is very busy. My new project, which is a reservoir in Los Angeles that we've emptied and we're making some modifications on, and then we're going to put a floating cover because you are not allowed to have open air reservoirs in California anymore due to some environmental regulations. So we've been slowly but surely putting what we call floating covers, or basically a visqueen plastic, over all of our reservoirs. So that's my project for the next 2 years. And it will be a fun project, but it is definitely more of a drive than my previous project, and it's across crazy LA traffic, so that's not fun. But it's in this beautiful canyon, very green, feels not like LA because it's not built up over there. It's over in the Bel Air area of Los Angeles, so that will be fun. Construction's always fun, and no challenges yet. We're at the honeymoon stage of the project where no one is mad at each other, no one has cost each other money, and we haven't had a lot of changes yet. That will change soon, but right now it's the nice phase of a project. Yeah, other than that, I've just been having a great summer. Enjoying being outside. It's just started doing some hiking last weekend. Tend to actually, unlike a lot of places where the winter keeps people from exercising, for me, the summer keeps me from exercising because it's so hot. So I'm actually really looking forward to the weather cooling down so I can start doing more exercising. So I've been going to Griffith Park after work and getting some walks in and some things like that. So I'm going to gear back up to being a little more motivated, a little more healthy, you know, the things you constantly think about. But let's go into my upcoming travels because I'm really excited. Next weekend, I'm going to the Fall Fling hosted by the Loopy U, and I'm going with my mom. My mom is not a knitter, but she is a quilter, and they invited anyone who quilts to also kind of come, as I guess this is our first year kind of doing it. So it's not quite as set up as the knitting part of it, like bringing teachers and things in. I think they're going to have some demonstrations, but it wasn't like, here's the teachers, you're going to sign up for those classes, etc. So we both fly in on Thursday into Denver. I think our flights are like an hour apart, and then we're going to drive down to where the Fall Fling is in Loveland, Colorado, which I think is less than an hour outside of Denver, south of Denver. And we're there until Sunday. And then we're going to go up to Estes Park and stay at the Stanley Hotel for a night before we fly back out on Monday, because Monday's the holiday. So it didn't make sense to come back on Sunday when I have Monday off. And the Stanley Hotel is the hotel that Stephen King, him and his wife years and years ago were like the only people there, and it inspired him to write The Shining. It is not where The Shining was filmed or anything like that, but this is what the hotel that inspired the book, The Shining. So we're very excited. They talk a lot about it being haunted and things like that, and that is right up my mom's alley. And it will be much cooler up there because it's up in the Rocky Mountains, which I'm excited to see. I know it's kind of after the season of everything, I think. I'm not sure. But I love being up in the mountains. Even in the snow, but I don't think it will be snowing yet. But it will be nice and cool and crisp and perfect knit weather. I've been watching the weather, and I think that they're in like the 40s and 50s during the day and in the 20s at night. So chilly. So we're doing that, and then in 3 weeks I'll be at Rhinebeck. Yay! I'm gonna make Rhinebeck this year, and going with some of my normal crew from the East Coast and my friend Priscilla from out here. And we're gonna be there Thursday. Everybody's getting there on Thursday. We have a house in Woodstock, and we're going to be there Thursday night, and we have Friday, and then Saturday is Rhinebeck, and then we'll probably go back for a little bit on Sunday. And then on Sunday night, I am going to head to my family's, and my sister just told me yesterday that she actually got 4 tickets to the Patriots game for that day from her boss. So we're going to go, so when I told her I was going to be there, because of course they didn't realize I was coming, either my mom forgot to tell them or I did. So anyways, now I'm going to go to the Patriots game, which is awesome because I've never been to a Patriots game. Grew up in New England, but when we were growing up, we were not in the tax bracket to go to the sporting events like that. Since then, my brother and sister go all the time. I've had season tickets and things like that, but I've just never made it back and gone to a game. So I'm really excited to go and see that game, and I think it's going to be definitely my sister, my brother, and I, and I'm not sure who the 4th ticket is going. If I'm trying to convince him to let mom, but they say mom has to babysit the niece. But I did convince my sister, possibly, I kind of put a bug in her ear that if they could, I would love to keep the kids out of school on that Monday and take them and go do something fun in Boston or somewhere, since I will be there Monday, and then I fly back out on Tuesday afternoon to head back home. So we'll see if she lets me do that. That will be exciting and fun. I haven't been to Boston in a while either. I usually fly in and out of Boston, but that's about the extent. I haven't been in Boston to hang out proper in a while because my family lives in Rhode Island. Yeah, so I do that, and then I just have other little miscellaneous stuff on the home front here, weddings to attend, and showers and birthday parties and things like that. It's keeping my October pretty busy, and then looking forward to November. Don't really have anything planned. I don't have any big trips. I'm still trying to think about what my big trip for next year is going to be internationally. Right now the thought is possibly Morocco, and with maybe my brother and sister and my uncle. I might have sold them on the same tour group that I used, and they do a trip to Morocco. So we'll see. And then possibly Stitches West. I didn't get a hotel room because I was slow, so that might happen in February. Knockers Retreat hopefully in April. And yeah, I'm kind of don't have any real beyond this month. I have any hardcore plans, which is kind of nice. It's tended to typically slow down in winter, and sometimes you need that breath. Maybe focus on the house. And I've been looking. It might be time to like touch up the paint. We'll see. So that is all I have for you today. It has been wonderful talking to you. Hopefully I won't be so long before my next one, because I'm going to have to tell you about all of my travels. The fall fling, the Rhinebeck, all of my acquisitions I plan on making. I need to start trying to pick some projects out to buy for. That will be exciting at both those places. And yeah, just share some of my adventures and see how everyone's doing. But until then, that's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Bye, everybody.